Video walkthrough on Aspen Trail. We will start in the back. You're pre-wired for a backup camera. This doesn't have one, but it's pre-wired for one. It does use power off those marker lights up there, so the running lights on your tow vehicle need to be on to turn the camera on. Here's where you're going to hook your city water up to. When you're using city water, you don't need to use your pump, which is nice. It runs everything off of city water pressure. Outdoor shower, you do have hot and cold back there. It's nice. You're at the beach, you need to spray your feet off. Perfect for that. You got kids, pets, got dirty, spray them down, or someone else is showering and you really need to shower. If you're desperate enough, you can do that with that. These bumper caps do come off. It's a perfect spot to store your sewer hose. These do not come with sewer hose. That will have to be a separate purchase. Speaking of sewer hoses, right here is where you're going to dump all your stuff out of. So you got this cap right here. You take this off before you put your hose on. Before you take this cap off, make sure these valves are all the way closed. You just pull them in or out to use them. Because this little section right here and then back there up into the tank might be full of some stuff if these valves are open. So make sure they're closed, take your cap off. Always recommend wearing gloves. And then I always do black tank first. Let that get all the way dumped out. Your black tank is your toilet water, and your gray is pretty much everything else. Dump your black tank out, let that get all the way dumped, and then do your gray tank. That'll flush your hose out. That way when you pick it up to carry it, to put it in your bumper, it's not dripping in black tank water. This shore cord, your shore cord, doesn't go out further than this. You're about 25, 30 feet long. I would say this one's closer to 25 feet long. Most places have 30 amps, so you should be pretty good for that. You can always close this like this, keeping it look nice and neat and whatnot. Cable inlet, if you're going somewhere that provides cable, this is where you can hook up your cable to. Not a lot of places still provide cable, but you might occasionally roll up somewhere and have a few feet of coax ready for you. Slide seals, just every once in a while, inspect them to make sure they're not dry or cracked or anything. You want them to be flexible and pliable like they are now. You can have us do what's called a slide out maintenance, which I recommend once a year, and all that involves is us applying a conditioner to the seals to keep them in tip-top shape, and then a dry lubricant for your rails for your slide out. That's a service we provide. It's not terribly expensive, and then we do sell the necessary materials here for you to be able to do that yourself, which is nice. Good information up over here. You have your VIN on it. You have your gross vehicle weight rating. That's the most this trailer will weigh. So that gross vehicle weight rating is your dry weight plus your cargo carrying capacity, the weight of your tanks while empty. Just the max this trailer will ever weigh is that right there. But really, the most important number right here is it's printed right here and right here. 65 psi. Now we always check tire pressure on sold units, so you got that. Definitely recommend checking your tire pressure before each trip, just so that it keeps you from the potential blowout happening from them being too low. Just always check your tire pressure. Be vigilant with that. Oh, see, I almost forgot something. So go up in here. Pass-through storage. Plenty of space for the unruly children. I'm just kidding. Plenty of storage for bags, luggage, chairs, and whatnot. Outdoor grills, whatever you have. Plenty of storage for that. We're going to take this off just because it's easier to see. We're going to start with the battery first, however. Group 24 RV Marine Gray battery. Definitely recommend taking that out in the winter. Storing it anywhere is better than outside all winter. Your garage, basement, shed, anything you got. The winter is harsh on these batteries. And if it's going to be a while between trips, a couple of weeks before trips, I definitely recommend disconnecting the negative lead, which is the black one right there, off your battery. That's going to keep anything from using your battery while you're away. Yeah, that's pretty much it for battery. It's not a whole heck of a lot of things you have to do. Yearly maintenance, you could take it in. We could check the water levels in the battery, make sure it's all right. But your battery should last you a while if you take it out every winter and store it somewhere warm. It does charge when you're plugged in, so if you can keep it plugged in during winter, that's perfect. Dual 30-pound cylinders, which is nice. You get a lot more than 20-pounders, obviously. Got an automatic changeover regulator right here, and you can see how it says supply on it. It's pointing to this tank. I'm just going to pull from this tank first, but you can have them both on. And the nice thing about having them both on is if this one were to get emptied, a little diaphragm in here will open up, and it'll automatically switch to pulling from this tank, again, provided this one were to be on, and that's good. There are some cons to that, one of them being this doesn't move, indicating it has switched, and another one being, because of that, you could be halfway through this tank, right, but still think you're pulling off of this tank, because last time you came out and checked, it was pointing over here. So keep that in mind. You still want to check. You can buy those peel and stick like gauges, which aren't 100% accurate. You can buy screw-on gauges. What I do is I have one on, one off. If I run out of propane, I turn one on, turn the other one off, and then manually switch this over so I know which tank I'm pulling from. Power tongue jack. I tell you what, it beats hand cranking every day of the week. You do have a light on it. It is at night. They are bright, but since it's sunny out, you can barely see it. And then you have retract and extend. Like I said, beats hand cranking it. You're going to use this to level your trailer front and back. We'll go more into that as we go along. 7-way, this is going to get plugged into the back of your tow vehicle. It's going to allow your trailer marker lights, your turn signals, and your trailer brakes to work. Your truck has to have a brake controller for the brakes to work. And you have to have a brake controller to leave with this trailer because by law, anything over 2,000 pounds is required to have brakes, at least in Ohio, I believe. And then we can't let you leave it without having working brakes, which you need a brake controller for them to work. Chains, you're going to obviously cross them. And then you have a breakaway right here. This will get hooked up with your truck as well. There's a little box up underneath there. You might have seen it. It's this box right there. If the trailer would have come unhooked from your truck, which I have never personally seen, but safety feature, I'm just going to pull the pin out of the box, activate the brakes on the trailer, keep everyone safe, hopefully. Hopefully that never ever happens, but it's there. Use it. Hook it up just in case. There's the other side of that storage compartment, and this is the side that has a light on it. Right over here, you are pre-wired for solar. You don't have solar, but you're pre-wired for one. And then solar is just going to allow you to trickle charge your battery. Now, back onto using your tongue jack to level it. If you want your trailer to be level, that is how you level it. You do not use your stabilizing jacks to level it. They're not leveling jacks, they're stabilizing jacks. So you run one down. Once one kind of touches, the other one will start going. And when touching them, boom. Just enough to snug them down. That gets all the shake and shimmy out of it. Like I said, do not try to use these to lift up the trailer. There's a self-resetting breaker. The breaker will trip if you kept overextending them. If the breaker for some reason doesn't catch it in time, you could bend the jacks or amp out the motor and ruin the motor. So just keep in mind, leveling is done by your tongue jack for front and back. If you want side to side, as your back end blocks under your tires, but most places are pretty good side to side. Yep, and then you snug your jacks down to get the shake and shimmy out of the trailer. GFCI protected outlet. All your GFCI outlets are on the same circuit. So if one will trip, they will all trip. And then I'll show you as we go inside where the reset procedure and how to do that is. Freshwater fill, so if you're going somewhere where you couldn't get water in time, if you wanted to have access to water, you can fill your onboard fresh tank. Just rest your hose in there, don't jam it in there. Fill it up, watch its progress on the monitoring panel. Don't wait till you hear water squirt out everywhere. And you will need your pump to pull water from this. Now, just like your water heater, which we'll get in a little bit, so I'm kind of preempting it, you're going to want to drain it after every trip. So to drain your freshwater tank, you go up underneath here, and that's the drain. So right now, if you put water to it, it's just going to start squirting out. We make sure they're open to drain any water out of there, because if it sits for a long time with water in it, it starts to get stagnant and smelly, and that's why I recommend draining it every trip. So before you fill water on it, your first trip, if you need to use it, make sure you close that. And I did mention the water heater, about draining that too, but first we'll just go into a little bit more about the water heater. First thing you guys need to do if you want to use your water heater is put your plug in. The reason we don't put the plugs in, usually, some people leave them in. I'm always making sure it gets taken out for people. I try to. Right now, you'd be good for me to put it in because all the water is drained out. But the reason I leave them unplugged for people, I know we're kind of getting off the topic on this. Sometimes there might just be a little bit of water left in there, and if you guys don't use this trailer for a month after you're buying it, that water is going to get stagnant. It's kind of a pain to flush out. So we just leave them. We try to leave them undone. Screw it in there by hand as much as you can. It is a plastic thread. 15/16 is your socket size, so you can tighten that up like that. I use a socket with an extension and a ratcheting wrench. They do make a special tool for it you can buy. I don't like using it because it's more like a wrench and I scrape my knuckles on stuff. And that's just easier for me. Once you get the plug in there, as soon as you hook up water to it, whether it be not to the fresh water heater, but to whether it's from your fresh tank or your city water, it's going to start filling automatically. Then you're good to operate your controls for it, turn it on or off, whatnot. Now we're going on to the draining procedure. Like I said, you want to make sure you drain it after every trip. You don't want it sitting full of water. So before you pull your drain plug out, shut off all sources of water. Any water to your camper you want to turn off. You're going to open your pressure relief like this. Water is going to squirt out. That's fine. Everything out here is designed to get a little bit wet. Once the water stops squirting out, and sometimes it's just air that comes out. Once it stops, snap that closed, and then you can take that plug out. If you neglect to do this first, when you take that plug out, you're getting a bath. And you can see it's right at the level to get wet crotch. You don't want that. Even standing to the side, you're going to get wet if you don't relieve your pressure first. So make sure you do that. Besides that, I recommend cleaning in here and cleaning here a couple times a year. I say 4 times a year. Every changing of the season is perfect amount of time to do that. Right above there is your exterior vent for your rain shirt. So if you're going to run the fan on your rain shirt, you want to make sure that this is open like that. If not, you just push it closed. Exhaust for your furnace, just keep it clean. Clean in here quite often. Same with your fridge, clean in here. I even recommend taking this panel off, cleaning back there. It's very easy. Just give these a quarter of a turn. A coin, a flathead. If you have a key, that'll work too. And then you can pop it open and clean back there. Rear stabilizers works the same as the front ones. Outdoor fridge. Good for keeping beers in, quicker access to your beers or whatnot. This only works when you're plugged in, unlike your interior fridge, which we'll go in a little bit more about that. Slide this out. You can lock this open like that. Do have water. This just pushes in and you turn. Boom. There is no drain for it. You just take that out, empty it when you're done. Push this in and twist it to get rid of it. You have an outdoor grill. Very easy to use. You just turn them to high and light them with a lighter. Barbecue lighter, match, whatever you got to light. You will need to take this propane line. You can kind of see the end of it right back in there. You can pull that out and it gets hooked to this propane quick disconnect right here, and then that silver valve on the outside needs to be open. Then you'll be good to go. Always recommend strapping this because even though this has a door, you don't want this hitting the inside of the door when this is closed. You do have another GFCI outlet, again, all on the same circuit. We'll show you more into that as we get into the inside. Alright, well, speaking of the inside, that's where we're going next. Now we have the AC on. I'm going to turn that off so I don't have to shout above it. And then someone rolled my slide out in a little bit. We're going to go back out with it. Alright. It's going to take a little while for that AC to... There we go. So right here, you have your monitoring panel. You can read... Ooh, that's pretty bright. Your battery. Let's see if we can focus. Battery is always going to read full when you're plugged in. Fresh tank, black, and gray. Don't have a second gray. It even says tanks maybe by model. You do not have a second gray. You have your controls for your water heater on gas and your water heater on electric. You can run them both at once. You do just gas or just electric. When you do electric, make sure there is water in the water heater. Excuse me. Make sure there is water in the water heater, because if there isn't and you're running on electric, you get about 10 minutes before the heating element is ruined. Controls for exterior lights. Little LEDs on your awning, which is nice. Interior lights. This is your main row of interior lights. As you see, it won't turn the bathroom lights off. It wouldn't turn the slide lights off or the bedroom lights off. Controls for your slide out. Controls for your awning. We can run your awning out right now, actually. Now, it doesn't look like we'll be able to go all the way out because there's a forklift here, but we will see. And there's some scaffolding there, so we'll see. These do not stop automatically when you go all the way out. That's something you'll have to visually look for and then stop yourself. Ooh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, just barely. It has another, like, 4 inches to go. But you'll see the bare gray metal tube, and then you can already see the flap hanging down. When you see that bare gray metal tube and that flap hanging down, you're all the way open, which is perfect. They are adjustable. There are instructions right here on how to adjust it. You can see right there, you have a pin detent on either side. You squeeze them in, then you're gonna grab here as you squeeze those in, and then you pulling this or pushing this, and then as it's gonna do is just raise this and lower this. We're just gonna raise and lower the corner. So if it's raining, you can have water pitch off to one end. You can adjust both of them and have the sun's in your eyes to kind of block some of it. If you do adjust these to different heights, make sure you return them to both on the same one before you roll your awning in. If you had it out when it was drizzling a little bit, that's fine, because like I said, you can have that water pitch off to the corner. But if you start getting heavy rain, heavy wind, roll your awning in. You can see how nice and clean this is. So if you roll it in when it's wet, and as soon as you get the chance to roll it back out, let the water dry off. If you have to, wipe it off by hand. Because the best way to keep this awning nice and white like this is to make sure it doesn't roll up and hold moisture. Because when you hold moisture or leaves, you get streaks, and they're pretty difficult to get out. So taking good care of your awning could make it last the entire time you own this. Radio acts as a DVD player, standard definition DVD player. Very easy to use. You have power. Turn it on. Let's make sure this isn't blaringly loud. Yeah. You have different zones. Zone 1 is inside, so you can turn the inside speakers off, as you can see there. Now it's just the outdoor speakers. You can turn the outdoor ones off, so it's just the inside one, so you can have them both on or both off. These numbers right here, presets, push and hold to save presets. You have play, pause, stop, rewind, or previous channel, fast forward or next channel. Bluetooth mode selection, so you could do Bluetooth, AV in, auxiliary, and then AV in would be this, so you could have audio from a from your TV or whatever play through the speakers. And then Bluetooth, that's just so you can pair your phone to it, link it up Bluetooth. Now you can listen to your own music. You have auxiliary cord, so you can listen to music through auxiliary cord, headphone jack. I doubt you guys will ever use your headphone jack. And then USB port that doesn't interface with the radio. It's just so you can charge your phone. Very simple to use. Spot for TV. Right here you have Wi-Fi. This is your Wi-Fi. It's not set up for that. I think you have to get the special module for it. It has the it's pre-wired for it. Usually is what it is. The main button right here is the antenna power. If you're going to use your antenna, make sure that's on. If you're hooked up to the cable, just turn it off. Power for a TV there too. Right below that, your breaker box is your breaker for all your 120 volt appliances. Your fuses for all your 12 volt. Definitely recommend carrying some spare fuses with you. You have a carbon monoxide / propane gas alarm that's hardwired to the 12 volt system, so there's no batteries you have to worry about changing. However, since it is hardwired to the 12 volt system, if that battery I was showing you up front starts to die, this will start giving low voltage chirps as well. Just plug your camper and let it get charged up. Bedroom, you have to turn your lights on and off in the bedroom from the light itself. Outlet either side of the bed. Plenty of storage. More lights up underneath the bed. And then you do have some storage. Those are your backup crates for your stabilizer jacks and your tone jack, as well as a backup for the slide out. Bedroom doors. Unclip them. To use them when you do travel, though, I do always recommend clipping them back like this so they're not bouncing everywhere. That's why they clip like that. Same deal with the other door. Do have a spot to mount a TV in here. You got a little sticker right here. That's where there's going to be a backer in your wall to mount a TV. Usually the screws you get with the mounts are entirely too thick, or not thick, but too long rather. So just keep an eye out for how long they are. You don't want to poke a hole to the outside of your camper. Another coax outlet for TV, and then power for a TV in the bedroom as well. This right here, these are pretty neat. They have like different ways you can set them up. Right? So, you got two legs here. Right? So if you want it as a bed, you just pop them legs off. Rest this table on these legs right here, on these little bumpers, and then you just use your cushions to lay in here to create a platform. So right now it's U-shaped. This part right here can get removed. Then what you do is you take these two legs that are in here, and then you actually put in this slot, and then that one over there, and then it'll be this leg and that leg over there. What that does is it's going to eliminate the U-shaped portion of it. It'll rotate the table 90 degrees, and then you just have like a two-section dinette instead of a U-shaped one. I like the U-shaped one. You can fit more people on it. That's just my opinion, though. It is your camper. You guys can do whatever you want. Microwave only works when you're plugged in. It works like your standard household microwave. Light and a fan. Like I said, if you can use your fan, make sure you have that flap on the outside open. Cooktop is very simple to use. Fold up and back. Turn to the flame. Twist your spark your lights right up. The gas is off, so it just bled all the gas out of the lines. All three work the same way. Your oven's a little bit differently. You turn that to the flame, push and hold. As you're pushing and holding that in, you're gonna twist this. It's gonna, and then you can see here. If I can do it. You can see how it sparks. So you're pushing and holding that flame in. What you're trying to do is to get that pilot to light. Once the pilot is lit, you can then turn it to your desired temperature. Feel like cooking again in a few hours, but don't feel like relighting the pilot. If you turn it off, but turn it to that flame, it shuts the burners off, leaves the pilot on. Definitely recommend don't going to bed with a lit pilot or leaving your trailer unattended for more than 30 minutes with a lit pilot. Light here turns on the knobs, and then there's a light in the oven as well. Fridge is super simple. You got one button. Off. Oop. On. There you go. Its only mode is auto, so it's going to automatically default to 110. So if you're plugged in, that's what it's going to use. If someone were to trip over your short cord, the camp gonna lose power or whatnot, someone would accidentally unplug you, it's going to automatically switch to running off of propane for you. Whether you're running on gas or electric, this does take 8 to 10 hours to get to operating temperature, so keep that in mind. We're going to turn that off for you for now. There you go. Thermostat is very simple. You just tap the power button, which is also the mode. First mode is ask you auto, high, and low. That's your fan mode. Recommend running it on an auto, especially with your AC. Auto is going to allow your AC to cycle on and off at your set temperature. So if you have it set to 60, once it reaches 60 degrees, your AC will shut off, and then as it starts getting warmer here, it'll kick back on. If you were running on high, and once it hits 60 degrees in here, your AC is going to keep going. And then eventually, it's like super hot, super humid out, it'll freeze up, shut itself off. You have to wait for it to thaw before you can turn it back on again. That's why I just recommend auto. Tap it, goes to cool. Tap it again, goes to furnace. Your furnace goes all the way to 90. Cool goes all the way to 55. If you accidentally hit up and down at the same time, no biggie. That just switches it to Celsius. All you gotta do is hit up and down again. Goes right back to Fahrenheit. Bathroom's very simple. Light switch for the lights in here. This is your main GFCI. Remember how I was saying all the GFCIs are the same circuit? This is the one you're going to come hit reset on if any of them were to trip. Shower is very simple to use. All you do is turn the knobs on and lift this up. Diverts to your shower. Otherwise, you can take a bath. I'm too big for taking a bath in here, and I'm sure most adults are too. Toilet is very simple. All you do is... not my stomach. There you go. All you do is hit the pedal. It's going to keep flushing as long as you're holding it down. Not a whole heck of a lot else to do in the bathroom, really. A few more safety features. I was showing you the RV propane and carbon monoxide alarm. You do have a smoke alarm as well. Those use your 9-volt battery, so if that starts giving you those low voltage trips, you throw a new 9-volt in it. And they do have a fire extinguisher as well. All three of those safety equipments expire 10 years after the date of manufacture. I'm not sure off the top of my head what year this is. I think it's a 2018. 10 years after date of manufacture, you're going to want to replace all those safety appliances, regardless of whether they've ever sounded an alarm or whether you've ever had to use your fire extinguisher. Replace them because that'll give you a good peace of mind. Alrighty then. well, that pretty much is it. I hope you folks found this video informative. I really do. Hope you folks enjoy using this camper. I really like these bunkhouse setups. They do sleep a lot of people. Hope you guys enjoy it. And goodbye.